everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our all-new podcast series, World of Paws.
This time around, we're not covering just one show or movie in general, rather subjects surrounding comics, animation, movies, or even the people behind them.
We hope that you enjoy this as much as our regular episodes, and as always, feel free to comment down below. Let's get started.
Today we're discussing how anime and manga have now become mainstream entertainment in the U.S., while U.S. comics and popular movies and shows franchises have started to decline in popularity.
Yes, and it's happening at breakneck speed.
Yes. And at first it was just the fact that, these stories are just really, really well done. They're amazing, spectacular, inspired by, and a lot of them are inspired by Western pop culture and movies and shows and stuff, and what ends up causing it.
Comic giants, DC
and Marvel, right. And they were the heavy hitters when it came to comics and entertainment. And of course superheroes, and then with My Hero Academia starting to break that mold, and as the manga came around in I think 2013, and then became an anime in 2014, and the thing just blew up in popularity and no one saw it coming, and since then it's become a worldwide phenomenon for superhero and comic book fans, not just in the US, just around the world.
Absolutely. And we know that anime has been around for quite some time. For the U.S., it began with the introduction in the 1960s of Speed Racer.
Right.
And that was the United States' first exposure to this genre. And it's really popular, well-loved series, still this many decades later, almost 60 years later.
Yeah.
It still has fans, both original who watched in the 60s and new fans of all ages. And since that time, more and more shows came. You had Ultraman, which was a live action of series based on anime. You had Spectraman. Then you jump forward to Voltron 84 or Voltron Defender of the Universe.
Right.
And then you keep going forward. So we know that it's not a new genre, but as we mentioned, here in the United States, it has become just explosive in popularity, and it is in many ways replacing the comics and the shows that we've become used to. One, because the formula for which worked for so many decades for these two powerhouses has changed dramatically. Also, they are changing characters, they are changing backstories, giving way to new versions, such as with the failure of the New 52, that didn't seem to deter them. Now they're trying it again. And also with Marvel, in essence, killing off many of the characters that have been loved for decades. And it's just kind of left an opening for this other genre this other genre which seems to value character development, writing, storytelling, values, and creating something that you can relate to above what can they do now to capitalize off of marketing and making money. And it seems in essence as if the anime genre has still held on to how it originally began. They made this manga, and then they made the anime series after them because they love it. It wasn't so much to make money, and you can tell that with every series you watch, the people really love what they do. They love the storytelling, they love the characters. I mean, before then, we didn't know characters could have birthdays and birth cities and intricate backstories and favorite colors and all these different
blood
things
types.
that really make them real and fleshed out until anime. And unfortunately, in the American market, you don't get that kind of personal development with the characters.
No.
And it really, really makes you just love the character even more, because it's like it makes them more real and it fleshes out. So
and it's a shame because there are really times when people do put a lot of effort into their stories, whether it be animated, comic, or anything, and then it's like finally something really good and good quality. Next thing you know, oh, the network decides to cancel it. We don't need more episodes. And then the next thing comes along and it's the most brain dead thing you've ever seen in your life. But oh, season 15, season TV movie, endorsement deals everywhere. I'm like, the stuff that's just not good in entertainment value is the stuff that's just going through the roof, and they're pushing and promoting, and then the stuff that's really actually good and investing you in the story is just like, oh well, we don't want that. That's not really something we want. We don't want this in our company.
That's because it's become all about the dollar, which in essence is why, at least right now, Marvel is attempting to break into the anime market again.
Right.
With shows based on characters we know, which just doesn't seem like it's a good idea.
Yeah.
They did it before with Iron Man. Rascal purchased it, and after 2 episodes, I thought, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'm going to attempt to try and watch it again, but there was no excitement. There was no story. It was boring. It was just too calm and too boring. When I see anime, and every single show we've seen, regardless if it's rom-com, action, drama, superhero, whatever it is, it's engaging, it's exciting, and regardless of the genre, the story holds you and captivates you, and the characters make you care. If the bottom line is money, as it seems to be for some animation houses here, then if your anime is going to be just American stories in an anime design, it's not anime.
Right. And yes, I found out that at sometime in the early 2000s, Marvel tried to do some anime series based off the American comics or shows, and they did one with Iron Man, Blade, X-Men, and Wolverine. The only one that seemed to be successful was the Blade one, because that probably fit the best with anime, because it's already him slashing up vampires and stuff, so that's something they would make in Japan anyway.
Really full of action.
Right, so
storyline, action, a character that stands out, a character that has values, and is fighting for something.
Right, and then the rest didn't seem to do well, and I was like, wow, how come I never knew about this? Well, seeing Iron Man, well, of course we're willing to try it again, but seeing how it's so calm, it was way too calm, and at the time, this is when didn't have a lot of stuff from other countries, so they had this theme of some of the Japanese characters did not like Iron Man because he was American, which now is completely different, because half the stuff they do now is shout-outs, homage, or like Tiger and Bunny, where everything is just based off American superheroes and stuff, and it's like a love letter saying, hey, we love this stuff so much, we're gonna make a whole show and make it look like you made it because we love your superheroes and stuff that much.
Right, and it seems like, unfortunately, their love of these characters has surpassed the love of the companies that originally produced them. Now, I really need to say, these characters have been around since the 30s. Comic books, and then, of course, graduated to television shows and movies. And we're not saying that we don't love DC and Marvel anymore. Don't mistake what we're saying. What we're saying is the effort and the time and the stories and the love that was put into it with huge giants like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby,
and Steve Ditko.
Yes, it seems to have been considered to become outdated, and now it's all about fast money, quick story, and which story can be the most shocking and the most different from what it had before. But if it's not broken, don't fix it. Why are they changing the formula that worked to something that just seems like they're pulling it out of their butts?
Right.
I mean, it worked. Even with the changes in the characters, it still worked.
Right. It was enough to where, hey, we updated a little bit, but it's not so far out where it's not the same character. Just enough to where, okay, this is more believable for the time period the characters are in now.
Exactly. And I'm sure it's not just us. I'm sure there are millions of people that feel the same, and I'm sure Japan feels the same. Who wants a Batman that murders?
No one. And whether you are, you know, the kind of person who's like, well, why are you so like, well, Batman's not that good or anything like that. Whether you are on that bandwagon of, you know, Batman wins everything, Batman doesn't kill, or who cares about that? Whichever part you're on, if you like the character for what he's been all this time, and a character that was already so perfect that they couldn't even modify him that much in decades later, because if they'd done that, then the character wouldn't be popular anymore, aka like Superman did. Then why would you do that to your entire comics database? We understand, you know, you'll get new characters. We understand you gotta update some of them, and it makes sense.
And we love new characters. We love new characters, not redesigning, reappropriating, and changing the ones that are characters we love.
Right.
Give us new characters to love.
Right. Like with Wally West, and now they want to change Superman to be Michael B. Jordan. They want all these changes, and it seems like the changes are only done, and they've even stated this before, it's easier to rebrand a character rather than make a new one and come up with all the story, and you already got some other stuff here, and you just alter it around. For reboots, it's fine because you've like, okay, what if this happened? What if this happened? What if we did this? What if this one had more development? What if they're more fleshed out? Those types of changes are fine. Some designs are even fine because they're like, oh, you actually make them look cooler. But with Marvel in particular, they seem to be way more concerned about satisfying an audience that wants diversity and representation and all sorts of other things.
There's nothing wrong with that, but again,
make a new character.
Create a new character. Create a new character universe. Create something that makes people love this new development.
Exactly.
And want to buy those books and see those movies and see those TV shows and add them into the catalog.
Right. And then there'll be no problem whatsoever. That means just more characters to love. More characters for your favorites to get attached to and do team ups and crossovers and stuff, and add new fans, of course, and then they can still enjoy a new generation of heroes and the original generation and still enjoy them.
Absolutely.
Or as Disney is now attempting to do, just kill them off or say, oh, this is outdated. There's no need for this hero anymore. His morals and stuff are bull. You need this new young teen hero who does whatever they want, and just kill them off, kill this one off, and it's like, what are you doing? At this point, you're not going to have any heroes left that people want to see.
Part of the popularity of the original heroes in both DC and Marvel was that they had conflicts in development, and they had problems that they had to solve.
Right.
And then later on, like when Stan Lee began to put modern problems and issues into it, it became more interesting, more varied, more layered, more full, more interesting. But now that's gone. And the amazing thing is, as we mentioned in the beginning, Japan with their manga has adopted that because they loved it. And the thing that made the houses stand out, it no longer stands out. Now the character no longer has development or has to come up with resolutions and work through issues and problems and self-growth.
Right.
Now it's screw this, kill them.
And that's the solution.
Screw this. Just worry about
yourself, or it's not about the public, like when they always say, oh, protect the people and be the hero they can look up to. Yeah, apparently the only way to do that now is if you kill off the villain, be arrogant, be a jerk, seclude, save particular people and not others. It's like, what are you doing?
And then, as we mentioned earlier as well, the killing off of loved characters.
Right.
And yes, we're still speaking in terms of comic books, TV shows, movies, as in relationship to manga and anime.
That's correct.
And the killing off of characters and taking them out of a cinematic universe to make room for younger people makes no sense. You think about the actors who made the characters whom they are. They breathed life into them. They fleshed them out. They made them real for us. You're not caring that Robert Downey Jr. is almost 50 or 50. Who gives a crap? He's Iron Man. In our minds, that's Iron Man. We don't care that you think Scarlett Johansson is getting up in age. She's still beautiful and gorgeous and badass, and we want her as Black Widow. We don't care about you wanting to change Captain America to someone else. We understand that happened in the comic book. We're not ignorant of that fact. But Chris Evans will forever be Captain America, no matter how many people come after him. That seemed to all happen after Stan Lee passed. Maybe it was planned. Maybe it was already in the works and we didn't know it.
Like with Stephen Hillenburg.
Correct. But the thing is, you give us these stories, and a lot of these stories also are based on comic books that have come out decades ago. And you go and you get those storylines and you adjust them for the movie. Not even staying true, really, to what the comic book was. And now that we're on the topic of comic books versus manga, you get a nice, thick, full book of manga. You get volumes that come out regularly, and the action and the drawings and the animation and the storyline is awesome. You give us this flat comic book that's maybe 10 flat pages. You want us to pay $3, $4, $5. So if it's collector's edition, it's $25. Ramp it up in color and tell us it's the greatest thing ever. What's the matter, you? You don't want this. No, we want the meaty manga type books.
The stuff that takes you days to finish.
And it shouldn't have to be called a graphic novel. It should be called a comic book. And it should be, you talk about updating, how about you update the comic books?
Right.
How about you make them have more pages and more storyline and more content, and they be adjusted to match up with the pricing.
Exactly.
That makes you happy to shell out $25 for this awesome book that's full of color and action and that's 125 or 200 pages. Yes, we love that. And that is where we're falling behind. So what we hope is, instead of trying to copy the anime that's there, that you improve what you have, and that we can love both the American comics and American series and the Japanese manga and anime. But right now, at this time, they're giving us what we want, not what they think we should have, not what they think we deserve, but they're doing what they love, and they're putting it out there, and not even thinking about the money and how big it's going to be, and if it's going to be a blockbuster. You know, Horikoshi just does it for the love of it. He just does it for the love of it, and it's taken him places he never dreamed. And that can happen for anyone that does what they love and just puts it out there and hopes that other people can appreciate what they're doing. Law of attraction. It will come. Don't focus on the money. Focus on the love of the craft, and let others who appreciate the craft and what you've done love it.
Exactly.
And when you do that, then you'll be able to compete possibly with anime. But until then, giving us this stuff you're giving us and tell us don't ask questions, just eat it, doesn't work.
Right? And one more thing I definitely want to add is when we watch, all these animes and stuff, regardless of the genre, only time you're really not into it is if it's just not your thing, not something you're into. That'll be the only time you don't watch an anime. Like, hey, this is not the type of genre I watch. I'm more into this, and I found that. Okay, now I'm into it. And the thing is, even for some, like, I'm not even into it and enjoy it still. And it reaches so many people of all types who like different types of things. And in terms of the superheroes, for comics, like we said, all the superhero anime they got, My Hero Academia, Tiger and Bunny, and others, they're all based around and inspired. And you can see it if you are a mega fan of many of these heroes. They're all inspired by X-Men, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, the Avengers. My Hero Academia is another X-Men, but it's not just it's copy paste like
Right.
some people do here, copy and paste other sources and plot lines and stuff, and they think, oh, if we do the same thing they did, then this will be successful too. Not if we know you're copying it.
And not if it's the same tired old story you've given us before, but just in a different art form. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Right. And think about it. With Tiger and Bunny, yeah, you kind of got a story like a buddy cop style show,
Right.
but everything about it was still interesting and it was fun. Great homage. It seemed like something that was made here in terms of animation. Pay attention to detail and stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, this is just awesome. My Hero Academia, as you know, is one of the biggest things to come out this decade for comics and entertainment, because since its debut, it's just been destroying Marvel and DC in the sales for comics. It's topping the New York bestsellers list. It's topping comic sales for the year, for the decade. It's in multiple spots. It's in the top 3. And
then on top of that, you've got Naruto, you've got Black Clover, you've got Promised Neverland, you've got all of these other mangas that are right in there on the same list with them,
Right.
dominating and taking all the spots from where you formerly had U.S. comics.
Right.
And it's because we're not getting what we want.
Right.
Give us what we want and make us happy. Don't give us what you think is going to line your pocket, because clearly it's not working, because your sales are dropping, you're not making money, you're not producing in terms of, and let me be specific about this, in comic books and in TV series the way you were.
Right.
In movies, they're doing great, but who knows how that's going to change now that you've gotten rid of some beloved
Right.
characters and you're totally changing the the universe. You're
yeah.
totally changing the universe where the characters aren't the same and you're having different actors play these roles instead of the ones who made the character beloved.
Right. And like I said, with the TV shows and stuff that came on in the 2000s, they still had that heart put into them. And, they love these characters and teaching kids, and adults alike have watched it, the morals and stuff of heroes and to be a great citizen, a great person, and people still hold on to those things to this day. And for anime, of course, they got the same thing. Like Full Metal Alchemist, almost over 10 years old, and it's still popular and still considered one of the best things. It's like their avatar.
Exactly. And another thing that they're doing in anime that I really wish would be adopted by comic book writers here is they give the popular characters
Like the attention, a spotlight.
Yes, a spotlight. Thank you. They give them a spotlight. So everyone's character who has a fan base, that character gets a spotlight. They have spin-off mangas, some comedy, some series, some real life. They have lots of events where they focus on that. They have tie-in marketing where you have restaurants that are participating with meals named after the characters or focus on the manga. You have posters and life-size cutouts everywhere. You have just tons of merchandising that are things that people want, not more underwear. We're tired of underwear. Stop giving us superhero freaking underwear. If you are above the age of 6, you don't want superhero underwear. You want other stuff that you can wear in public and be proud to wear and use, and we're not getting that.
Right.
Japan is giving it to the people who love their shows. So if you want to take a page out of their book, give us the freaking marketing stuff that we've asked for. And one example is with Young Justice. For years, they were saying, the market isn't there. Women won't buy the merchandise. We were saying, give us pajamas, give us socks, give us slippers, give us backpacks, give us custom purses, give us this, give us that. And no one listened. And nothing was done. However, take your focus to Japan and everything you can think of, food, toothpaste, toothbrushes, especially the action figures,
right,
and models,
t-shirts, sweaters, hoodies.
Anything you can think of is available. Where here you pick certain characters that you think are the ones who should have the focus, and then those are the ones you promote. You don't care what we're thinking, you don't care whom we love, and you don't care about the fan bases that every character eventually has. You ignore part of the fan base and what they want, and you give what you think they should have.
Right.
Then when it flops and fails, you're wondering why.
Exactly.
You're upset that manga is making so much money. Don't get upset. Don't get jealous. Do something about what you've got and make it work what we want, and then some of those dollars can be transferred to you as well. But as long as you keep giving us what you think we should have, not what we want, not what we're asking for, and you're telling us that the characters that have been loved for decades and decades aren't relevant anymore.
Yeah. And lastly, you know, for people, a lot of people I have seen many times when they review comics, and they kind of review like, look at the state of the comics is ridiculous when they read them and show them to their viewers on YouTube. It's like, this is what they're writing. It's not even interesting. It's not even a story. It's just, hey, we have all this stuff that people claim they want. That's it. We don't have to write anything. And there's tons of comments saying, this is why I quit reading comics.
Exactly.
This is why I'm buying manga. Most people just drop comics now and just go straight to My Hero Academia because Marvel and DC are no longer delivering the stories we've grown to love all these years. And I was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to watch My Hero Academia. This is crazy.
And it's not just My Hero Academia. You go to Toonami on Saturday nights and you'll see
how
many love series there are. And we were big comic book purchasers. We would spend $30, $40, $50 each a month going and hunting for classic comics and new comics. And it got to the point where we were getting there and seeing stuff, and I would say, I'm not buying any of this. And Rascal would maybe buy a couple. I'm like, I don't want this. Where's the stuff I want? Why are you rehashing this? Why is this here again? Why are you charging $175 for a comic book that came out 3 years ago because you're telling me it's collectors? And what ended up happening is we started taking that money and we started buying, guess what? Manga and DVDs of anime. And you forced us to do it because who wants to spend their hard-earned money, whether it's allowance or working for it or trust fund or however you get it, you want to spend your money on things you love. Again, give us the quality we're asking for, then you'll get our money back. But until then, we'll just go ahead and we'll stick with the theatrical universes for now. And some shows on CW don't get us into that. And right now, manga has us.
Right.
And right now, anime is really where our heart is. And when you bring us what we want and you give us what we want, we'll be there. Because we still love the characters. We just don't love what you're doing to them.
Right. So please let us know what you think of, you know, the state of comics as a whole, not just Marvel and DC. And what is your stance in terms of what's happening with the industry? Are you still into comics and trying to find the gold in all of the weird comics they got, or if you just dropped it all together and have gone straight to manga and anime?
And hope you enjoy our comments, no holds barred, just really tell you how we feel about things, podcast, and what we're doing with the world of Paws. Feel free to suggest any topics you would like us to discuss,
right,
and give you the truth of how we feel about them. And feel free to comment. If you agree, fantastic. If you don't, tell us why you don't, and what it is that we may be missing that we're not aware of.
Right.
There's always room for improvement.
Absolutely.
Marvel, DC.
And be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell for new updates on Paws Podcast.
And be sure to join us on our next topic.
Yes. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Masculine Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting, flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? My man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Hit her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket, give it to you later on in the form of a locket.